But the thing is, prior to World War II, this country was fairly heavily steeped in socialism.
Damn, this is not where we want to go.
The 5-day work week. The weekend is a socialist concept.
I know. Children not working is definitely.
Children not working is a socialist concept.
Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about something nerdy. What have you? Well, this is the pre-show, everybody, where we're talking about what we're going to do on the show. We're still waiting on it.
Hang the capitalist.
Stop. We're still waiting on at least Taylor. I do
Adam
believe
is on special assignment.
Yeah, Adam is on special assignment this week, and that's fine. He's got stuff, going on. I'm happy he does. I hope he feels better. Where else should I share this, man? I'm sharing it all over.
I need to put it up on Twitter here in a minute. But I'm bagging and boarding comics at the moment.
Yeah, man. We're doing a podcast. We're doing a live stream. Why are you working? I'm sharing the show. I'm sharing out the show.
I will have this. I will have the Twitter feed here in a minute.
Yeah. This is the part of the show where we talk about what we're going to do on the show, and it should be quick.
If it's just Gomer and me, it's going to go fast,
right? And I need to get Taylor up in here, man. Before we actually get into what we're going to talk about, or what we may talk about, because he may not want to talk about some of that. You'll talk about any damn thing. I've done enough shows with you, Dave, to know. But are you getting these new Magic card Forgotten Realms?
I'm kind of interested in it.
Dude, I am too.
I am not followed it because at the current state of Magic is not a good place right now.
So what do you say? What does that even mean? What do you mean by that?
They're dropping
Magic.
They're dropping sets like every 2 months.
So
they're dropping all kinds of stuff like this Forgotten Realm. This is in place of the core set, and Strixhaven with the previous set Strixhaven. It looks like they didn't do like any quality control on it because it is like EDH gold, but it's bad EDH gold. It's like iron pyrite in its stupidity.
Oh. Well, I don't know. We're just talking about Magic cards, Taylor, before we go.
But we're having all these other like crossovers.
I'll let myself out.
Well, it's the Forgotten Realms Magic cards.
It's D&D Forgotten Realms. They got Drits. Yeah. And they got like named chromatic dragons that I've seen.
Yeah,
so far.
They got like this new dungeon mechanic too. Have you seen this, Taylor?
I have not.
Like you have a dungeon, right? And it's on a Magic card, and it's broken into rooms like an actual dungeon, just a map. Like a grid. And sometimes your cards have enter or move forward in the dungeon. The other cards that you play. And every time you go into or step further into the dungeon, you get a perk. Like all your creatures get something for this round.
+1.
Yeah.
Until the
and
end
there's
of
some
round.
negatives too on some of the dungeons.
-1 until the end of round.
Yeah.
Since creatures remain tapped.
It's pretty rad, dude. So yeah, anyway. We'll do segment 1. I watched a movie. There was also a really good episode of Sports on today, I guess, that people were talking about. They were rioting in the streets of Europe.
Oh,
it must have been a soccer game then.
Like the European Championship today or something, or
we won't talk about that. All right, now
European football.
Do we want to talk about Branson in space? Because it's just going to be railing against.
Spare us.
He said he would commit $3 billion to climate change to stem climate change research and ways of stemming it. He didn't even get like a 10% of that to it, and then he's designed this plane to take him into orbit. So all
right, let's
he's fucked the planet. He's fucked the planet. Now he's trying to leave it.
I'm gonna. This was a fun picture from there. Just all these other 3, trained folks looking out the window, all having a good time. This bitch looks like she's checking her phone, for goodness sake. And Branson's like, please don't die. Please don't die.
Why does he?
I should have paid my workers more.
Why does he
all right,
look
we'll skip
like
Branson?
Why does he look like Dr. Cornelius from Planet of the Apes? Dr. Zaius. He looks more like Dr. Zaius.
Another question. Do we want to talk about I don't even know why I have this, but I have so many images for this. Do we want to talk about how Fox News is mad that Captain America is political? Again.
I mean, I guess we could if you want.
Okay,
to.
I'll leave it because I got a lot of cool images from previous comic books that showed you how crazy it is. And then Superman Son of Kal-El #1 is going to be another one of those sort of faux outrage things coming. I can just feel it. Black Panther #1 was delayed. We'll talk about that. There's a new DC series, actually a couple of them, and we'll mention those. Dave, did you watch Black Widow?
I did.
And so did Taylor.
I did.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you guys, they review. I will not review because I did not watch it.
This was the first movie I've seen in somewhere in 16 months that I didn't have to stream.
Wow.
So,
holy crap. And then, Loki. We will definitely talk Loki. Any other news you guys want to add to the...
I did see where they're doing a Silverhawks revival, but the only thing I
we don't have much
the only thing I want to talk about is to shit all over people who are excited about it. Honestly, so yeah.
Are we talking about the Mondo 7 stuff?
No. Super 7. It's not Mondo. It's Super 7.
It's
Super 7 is doing a new line of figures. They're very expensive, actually, like all Super 7 shit. But
they're doing an animated cartoon. Yeah.
But yeah, there is a company. David, hold on.
See, David, you're part of the problem. Who cares?
All right. What about He-Man Revelation?
Silverhawks is a bad Thundercats ripoff, and Thundercats wasn't even really all that good to begin with. But you're getting a bad version of a bad show.
But the newer Thundercats shows all right. The original Thundercats was great. It has not aged well at all.
It wasn't.
No, it hasn't.
It has not
aged well.
When I watched it when I was like 10, I loved everything about it.
Yeah, when you were 10.
Exactly. It has not aged well. So,
but these 80s cartoons really hold up, but people will fucking die on these hills, and it's insane to me.
No, I understand that. It's this nostalgia as a genre, and they dig into these old IPs because there's a built-in audience already. People know it, But the new Thundercat stuff has been good. It hasn't been terrible.
That last series that was kind of in the vein of Steven Universe wasn't great, but that one before it was pretty good.
Yeah, but it's still the one that you said wasn't that good. It's still, people loved it. People watched the hell out of it. But
if you like Steven Universe, you love it.
Exactly. But they're doing that Masters of the Universe Revelations. That's everybody's gushing over that. I'm gonna watch it. I read the comic this week. It was terrible.
It was terrible.
The comic this week was dog shit. I hated it. But I'm still excited for the anime. So I understand what you're saying, Taylor, in the vein that, man, why are there not new IPs? Why are people not coming up with new ideas?
They are coming up with new ideas. Some of the best stuff has been in the last couple of years. Gravity Falls, Steven Universe,
but
Avatar.
That's true.
At least He-Man was its own thing. Silverhawks is it's derivative of something else. It doesn't stand on its own legs at all.
You're right. No, you're right. I love fucking Silverhawks. I thought it was so rad. Dude.
I love Silverhawks. I
thought it was so rad.
My favorite character was the pilot who always played the guitar in the
Dude,
ship.
He's like a country blue. His name was Bluegrass.
Yeah.
He played a magic sci-fi guitar that would shoot lasers out of it. Oh, it was
They
rad.
had one of those stupid kid characters who couldn't talk.
Yes.
What's the name of the annoying thing from Buck Rogers? That robot. Basically,
Tweaky.
it was that, only less of a character,
Yeah.
Beady.
It was Copper Kid or something.
It was Copper Kid. We're skipping instruments or our moment of destruction because, of course, we are. And then top 3. Not a great week for me in terms of comics, but we will get into it.
There's some good shit, I thought, actually.
Yeah, we'll get into it. It was...
My honorable mentions is huge.
I probably didn't read what you read. What'd you say?
My honorable mentions is huge.
Awesome. So anything else we want to add, gentlemen? It's a lot. Let's get into it.
I can't believe that you don't like Silverhawks.
Got a new intro this week. Wait for it.
Of course I don't.
Here. This is the war room.
Was that from Dr. Strangelove?
Yeah,
I think so.
Classic.
Good shit.
It's probably the most classic line from that. Greetings, geeks. Welcome back. This is another episode of This Geek in Comics, Outright Geekery's comic book shit talk show.
Shit talk show.
This is Comrade Gomer, aka David Taylor. We're down a man. Adam's under the weather, not feeling well, but he's with us in spirit and heart. What you guys
get well
do
soon,
week?
Adam, if you are watching.
Yeah, get well soon, bro. Feel better, even if he's not. Good vibes. What you guys do this week? Anything cool? I know you guys saw Black Widow. We are going to talk about
Black Widow. Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that later, I guess.
Nice.
I've been playing through the Mass Effect Legendary Edition still. I've gotten around to Mass Effect 3.
Fun.
I'm sorry.
Well, Mass Effect 3's ending was dog shit, but I'm enjoying the parts leading up to it, you know?
Yeah.
I played Mass Effect 1
it's
and
the
Mass
Game
Effect
of
2.
Thrones of video games.
I suppose so, but for a while, Mass Effect had dethroned Zelda as my favorite video game franchise.
I remember you couldn't help but rave, and then I was like, I hadn't even really heard of the game because I just don't stay up on that sort of thing. But yeah, I remember Taylor just, oh man, Mass Effect, and then 3 came out, and he was, oh man,
it's time for me to put down the controllers
yeah,
and walk away.
Yeah, right. That's fun. That's fun.
I played through 1 and 2 so much that I know exactly what's coming up. I remember every mission of it. But then I only played through 3 once or twice, and it's man, what comes next? I honestly don't remember this part.
That's fun. That's fun revisiting stuff like that. What'd you do, D?
Video games wise, I'm up to double-digit numbers in Fortnite Battle Royale wins.
Oh my gosh, this guy. I watched Fear Streets Part 2, set 1978. Again, it's based on the R.L. Stine series. Man, it was terrific. Again, fun homages, a really fun kind of.
Did R.L. Stine come in there?
I don't know. Is R.L. Stine even a real person? I thought
he is.
Name. Anyway,
he was played by Jack Black in the Goosebumps movies.
Oh, that's right. This takes place at a summer camp, and it still has those same themes. Of
is that the girl from Stranger Things?
It looks like
Mad
the girl
Max from Stranger Things. I don't know her actual real name. And then this was the bad guy. Again, this is all revolving.
I'm Baghead.
The first one was 1994, okay? And at the end of that one, the group of teenagers who goes through all of the terrible things that typical teenagers go through during horror movies.
Puberty.
Sure. They know a person who this has happened to before, and they call her, and they don't get through, but then she calls back, and it's it's not over. And then this follows that woman when she was younger in 1978 at camp, telling the story like a prequel kind of the first movie. But it's got all these great notes and hints to the other movie. And I want to watch the, 94 again to see if there's any, callbacks there. But the next one, and this is all happening every week. Last Friday, the 94 come out, and then 78 last Friday, and then next week is Fear Street 1666, and it's going to tell the story about this witch that is about the heart of the whole, thing. So, dude, it's been fucking rad, dude. I have been enjoying this quite a bit.
One of the things we can thank WandaVision for, it seems, is kind of ushering back in the era of week-to-week broadcasts instead of just binging and streaming and stuff.
Well, this is a movie.
Well, still,
I prefer binging. I would rather watch it all.
I think both have their positive aspects. A show like Loki or WandaVision, I think that works better if you get the week off because, you get to what's going to happen next, we all collectively get to theorize and get out our cork boards and what does this mean?
Sure.
If it was all out at once, somebody would have just been no, you're wrong. Here's what actually happens, before it even can get started.
Yeah, that's fair. I like to eat my dessert first. I'm one of those guys. I want it all right now.
But you're an impatient piece of shit.
You want to know how it ends before it begins.
I want to read the last chapter first. That's what I can do with streaming. I can just go to episode 12 and be like, oh, okay. And then start at episode 1 if I'm okay.
You are just the worst person.
No, I don't do that, but
I look around and say, how did I get here?
I think there is something to week just to sort of, build the buzz like you're saying.
I mean, I guess it ultimately depends on what the show itself, right? Like if the show is not the type of thing that like lends itself to like like suspense and like what's going to happen next, go ahead and binge the damn thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the Netflix shows mastered, setting it up where they just flow one into the other so that it really does benefit you to kind of make it one big marathon session,
Yeah. Remember Lost?
I do remember Lost.
Yes.
I never watched Lost when it was on its original run, airing week to week, and I'm so glad I didn't. I don't know how people did it. Some of those cliffhangers, dude, they had to wait an entire off season, like months. Yeah. There's no way I would have been able to handle that. I would have dropped that show so quick because that's just not. I don't want to wait.
I remember.
Comics is different.
I have more of a positive opinion of Lost than I do a negative opinion, but it really did depend it like disappeared way up its own ass after a while.
Well, it should have ended after just a few seasons. It got out of control.
It's the mark of a. No, go ahead. We're done. We're not going to talk about Lost. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, we do all the time. Anytime it's brought up, we always mention
fine. But like,
what's going on with Lost. It should have ended early.
Yeah, that's a good thing about like a lot of the greatest shows ever made knew when to end. They didn't like spin their wheels for a few seasons when they had run out of story to tell.
Exactly. Yep. All right, let's jump into the news.
And now the news.
We're gonna start with just some. I don't even know. I was apprehensive even putting this on the list, but I think it's fun to talk shit on idiots. So, Marvel under fire for politicizing Captain America. I mean, come on, that's the headline. That's all you need. That's all you need.
So who's the guy in the glasses?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Some asshole. Who cares?
Because this is the first cover.
Yeah.
That Captain America ever appeared on. He's literally beating the shit out of a world leader. And we weren't in World War II yet.
Yeah, that's important context for this, is that we were not at war when this very famous issue of us like demanding that the United States stand against the Nazis first came out. That's about as political as you could possibly get. But
the most ironic part about this is it took us getting punched in the face for us to actually jump into the war. I mean, literally, we got beat up in Hawaii, and we were like, "Okay, we better go fight this war."
And even then, that was the declaration of war against Japan, and not necessarily. But we still got
with Germany.
Yeah, we got both fronts on, but. Dean Cain jumped into it. I love how they put Superman in quotes here, like we were going to mistake it for, was he actually Kal-El? Wait, what?
What has he been up to?
But I don't even know why they bring Dean Cain into this.
I mean,
I guess because he's got that weird angle.
This is the only way he can stay relevant nowadays is to like jump into political brouhahas. But
because he was at one time a comic book character. I mean, is that his only qualification?
There's a vague association to make there, yes.
We don't bring in.
He wore blue.
This particular brouhaha was in response to United States of Captain America. This opening monologue that you and I both highlighted. We both put this in our top threes when this issue came out.
Yeah, this is Steve Rogers sort of having this inner sort of monologue and really a speech about America and how it is to be patriotic and things like that. But the dream isn't real. That's what they're getting upset about. And then it goes on to, at least that's one kind of dream. But lately, spending my days in this country as years march on by, I'm starting to think that there are actually two dreams and one lie, and that's what they're upset about because the white picket fence fallacy.
I mean, he was this monologue was basically him refuting the children's fable version of the United States. He was pointing out that this idea that like everyone has this equality of opportunity and that, it's complete meritocracy. That's not true.
Exactly.
But he also does point out, that there is good about America, that there is something worth fighting for, worth defending. And that's why he's Captain America, because that's what he fights to defend. So it's a very pro-American speech.
It's so pro-American.
But
yes,
it doesn't allow for this wishy-washy, like you were saying, white picket fence fallacy bullshit that a lot of people refuse to see past,
Yeah. So, and this is the actual panel that they're upset about because it says American lie. But the panel just before that, and that's what really gets me about this, because the panel just before that, a good dream is shared radically, shared with everyone. Dude, that just seems so damn American to me.
Yeah.
That seems like the most fucking patriotic thing anybody could ever say, but they want to harp on the next panel. So
that should be the America everyone should get behind. That should be the America that we should fight and strive for, you know?
Yeah. So then he goes on. He says the lie is the real problem because it comes in the form of empty promises. And he goes on, just sort of talking about how the American dream, is for different people, and how America is so different. Not even really making a statement, just saying, we may never reach it, but we never stop trying. That's my dream, and that's just. Dude, that's just so American. We reach for this dream for everybody to be, dope. So they got onto it about how, okay, Captain America is freaking political all of a sudden. So here's one. That's a pretty good one. That's out of an actual comic book from like the 60s.
Yeah.
I got another one. Go ahead. Keep going. Comment. I'm just going to throw these up.
You are right to point out that comic book characters, especially characters like Superman, like Captain America, they are extremely political. They are constantly political. This is nothing new.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously some comics are not going to have any political leanings whatsoever, and some are going to have more than others, but there's nothing new about this issue that came out a couple weeks ago.
Exactly, man. And it feels, I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is one of my favorite ones. They broke international law invading Panama. This had happened like 6 months after this book came out, with this fabricated drug war. This is the anti-Nixon sort of, and this is actually from an issue of Daredevil. But
oh yeah, and let's not forget there was that one issue at the end of the Secret Empire story arc where Captain America finds out that Richard fucking Nixon was like the big bad head of the secret organization he was going after. They didn't actually show his face, but it was pretty obvious who it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
They later backslid on that, but still. That's way more political than the United States of Captain America #1 was.
Dude, so I think everyone should remember Captain America has always been political. All right? He's always striving for an idealized country. He points out when America does things that seem unpatriotic. And he should, because he's a fictional character. That's what they're meant to do. They're not meant, especially ones who wear a fucking flag of a country as their outfit, as their outlandish costume that is synonymous with these sorts of superheroes.
Well, I'm assuming all these people who are all pissy about it on the Fox news sphere, they probably just think that Captain America is just this, America never does anything wrong. I'll defend anything and everything America does type of character, and that's never who he's been.
I mean, even with the movies, though, the Captain America movies have been just so political. Winter Soldier is my favorite one because of how political it is. Anti-government it is.
He fights for the ideals, not necessarily the authority.
Yeah. Oh well. So I don't know. That should be a recurring thing. In that same vein, Superman Son of Kal-El is coming out. Look for this to have the same sort of faux outrage once this issue hits. This is by Tom Taylor and John Timms. I'm excited for it. I'm finally going to read a Superman book that I'm pretty sure is going to be, worth reading. If Tom Taylor can get me to read Dick Grayson, he can definitely get me to read Superman. But this is one of the panels. The issue's already been released to comic shops, so we got this sort of leaked. Folks are going to hate the hell out of that.
They can go fuck themselves.
My idea exactly. Come on, man. Come on. Why shouldn't a Superman fight for everyone? Why shouldn't an alien that came to this world not be a citizen of the entire planet? They've done books like this before with Superman.
People are going to get sand up their craws about them not saying "and the American way," but if you look at what he's actually saying here, truth, justice, and a better world, who could possibly not want that?
Yeah,
that's what Superman's always stood for.
Yeah, the same aforementioned Fox News, man. I don't know. Just be prepared for it. It's going to happen. They're going to come out and be upset about that.
I'm sure.
Awesome. The rest of this news we're pretty much going to fly through before we get to our review of Black Widow. But Black Panther #1 has been delayed. John Ridley and Juan Cabal. Man, I'm so stoked for this. The issue was supposed to drop in August, but now it's been pushed to November 3rd, 2021. I'm not sure if it's because of an art delay. You know, they really don't even announce this sort of thing. You know, you just have to see that it got pushed.
It's usually art. That's like a good bet to make if you had to guess as to the delay. But, you know, delayed is better than bad.
Thank you. People were whining about this. Oh, this is bullshit. Dude, at least it's going to be good when it comes out, right? It's going to be finished. Whatever. People are silly. You know, they'll bitch both ways. You know, if it's delayed, you know, after issue 2 comes out, then they'll be like, oh, whatever.
I mean, in a perfect world, all the comics would come out on time and they'd all have like non-rushed artwork, but that's not always going to happen. You know, you gotta prioritize one or the other sometimes.
Yeah. Awesome. A new DC series coming out called Deep Target. Green Arrow and Aquaman teaming up, which you say that's like the dumbest combination.
Well, you know what? If I was back in like the 60s and like someone had like said, hey, Denny O'Neil's going to write Green Arrow and Green Lantern, I would have thought that was kind of a weird pairing too.
True.
But that being said, this is a weird pairing.
It's weird, dude. It looks like it's coming out in October. Brandon Thomas is going to write. Ronan Claquette is going to draw. Areola is going to do the colors. And this is a Marco Santucci cover, but there's also an In-Huck Lee cover, which is actually quite gorgeous.
That is nice, yeah.
Those are two hot fucking men, too. I'm telling you. They better lean into that in this book, because that's
they better ship them.
Yeah, that's half the fun, dude.
I remember when they did that Heroes for Hire book a few years ago. They did a scene where like Luke and Danny were both shirtless, and all the female superheroes were lusting after them.
Yeah,
maybe we'll get something similar here. But I do think it is kind of funny that like Green Arrow's whole shtick cannot work underwater. You can't fire a bow and arrow when you go underwater.
Yeah,
it's just impossible.
So I don't know what they're gonna do here.
My one weakness.
I don't. Yeah, my one weakness. Resistance, no air resistance. So yeah, I don't know, man. I need to learn a little bit more, I guess, about it, but it is intriguing. You know, you can't help but be like, wow, why would they do that? It's got to be great if they're doing that. Anyway, last bit of news before our movie review. Human Target by Tom King and Greg Smallwood has been announced. It's going to be a Black Label book. He confirmed it, that him and artist Greg Smallwood would be collaborating on Human Target, blah, blah, blah. Christopher Chance is coming. That's the guy's name. Do you guys know anything about Human Target? I know nothing.
I've heard the name, but I can't tell you much about him. I think his whole thing is like he stands in for like dignitaries or whatever, like impersonates them so that assassins will go after him instead. I think it's his whole shtick.
Wow,
but
that's weird.
But
it's like a good Zartan.
Yeah.
It's like
Greg Smallwood is a great artist. Did you guys ever check out his work on Moon Knight from a few years ago? It was some of the best stuff I've seen in years.
That's him and Lemire's run, right?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that's the quintessential modern day run on Moon Knight.
Really underrated, I think, that run.
Oh, I think it's coming back. I think that the series has been announced. I think when people say, what should I read for Moon Knight, I think it's
I should definitely read that. For sure.
Yeah.
But
it's fantastic.
Yeah, and then Tom King, like this is his latest in like taking characters that people don't really care all that much about and like doing just whatever the fuck he wants with them.
Yeah.
So
there hasn't been a Human Target story in 10 years.
I don't doubt it.
Not that long. That's not that long though, really.
I thought it was longer, honestly.
I did too. I would have said 30 or 40. I said this is like a character from the 70s.
Well, he started in the 70s, but the last publication that they have listed for Human Target is September of 2010, and it was a tie-in to a TV show.
Well, like Gomer was saying, that is way more recent than I thought.
Yeah,
honestly.
And that seems weird too. There was a TV show called The Human Target.
Wait, I think I remember that.
I don't.
Didn't have the dude who played Rorschach in it. It's like the Q guy. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll read Tom King. I will always try.
Yeah,
Tom King at the beginning,
I'll definitely check this out.
He's got to get me right away, dude. He's got to
Well,
get me first issue, man.
Mr. Miracle was great, and I am still I guess I'll say an apologist, since you guys don't seem to like it, for Adam Strange or Strange Adventures.
Yeah. I mean, everybody forgets that he did that. What the hell was it for Marvel?
Sheriff of Babylon.
Oh, that was
Vision.
for DC. Yeah, the Vision book, dude.
Yeah.
That is so damn good. Still to this day, I've reread that recently. But what else has he done? Heroes in Crisis. I dug Heroes in Crisis. I thought it was great.
I liked his Batman run.
It got bad halfway through. As soon as it hit night,
it dragged after a while.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Nightmare.
It dragged after a while, but I mean, it was better. There were more highs than lows, I think. From that.
He did that Mr. Miracle series.
We already mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Miracle was okay. Great art in that damn book.
Most people like it quite a lot.
I mean, I liked it too. I'll
give this a shot.
Yeah, I will definitely give that a shot too. Here it is, Black Widow. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Okay, so all
talk about
movies
Black
are
Widow.
good. So this was good, right? Let's just get that out of the way.
This was the Marvel.
That is not a raving start.
This is the MCU's version of a spy thriller.
Yeah, and I think that they did good stuff with that. I guess go ahead and jumping into the ending here along those lines. I liked how the way she confronted the big bad guy at the end was as much like a spy move, like psychological judo flip, as much more so than it was a fight scene. Because this was a guy who did not stand a chance against Natasha in a fist fight, but he had some sort of like mind control pheromone power, or like he had like brainwashed her with pheromones where she could not punch him.
It's kind of similar like to RoboCop. how the person who the one that hunts X-23, how X-23 can't hurt her. It's very similar to that. There's a pheromone involved where she can't attack her.
I remember.
Yeah. But like, so yeah, he's being this smarmy, slimy piece of shit. You know, he's all
giving away all the evil plan.
Yeah, and just as she planned. Because first of all, she shows up in a mask, like she had done like a body switch with one of the other characters, and then she gets him to reveal his big plan, and then she does the whole like "thank you for your cooperation" line, like from the Avengers, and then like breaks her nose so that the pheromone can't get to her brain anymore, and then she just beats the dog shit out of him.
Oh no, she doesn't. Is that how pheromones work?
She severed the nerve.
She severed the nerve.
Skull, so.
Yeah.
Fuck you. It works well enough.
But
maybe you guys are just describing it poorly.
Maybe.
But I really thought the movie kind of was stolen by the other Black Widow, Yelena.
Florence Pugh
did an excellent job.
Yeah. If this was her introduction as the next Widow, which, spoiler alert, it is.
It is.
She does a great job in it. She's like, they demonstrate that she's like a badass, but like she differentiates herself. She's not just like Natasha all over again.
She doesn't take herself as serious as Natasha takes herself.
In fact, she mocks Natasha for doing like superhero landings and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a scene in there where she does a superhero landing and she's like, this is disgusting.
That's fun. That's got like a generational sort of thing to it. That's fun.
But there was also
what they're probably going for, is a younger team. There
was kind of that, like the early on in the Ohio scenes, the movie, there was kind of like that Stranger Things vibe to it, even though it had like, the actor that played David Harbour in it. But
by the way, he was really fun in this movie too.
He was great in this movie.
Yeah.
He was like, I fought Captain America in the 90s.
Yeah, I heard
Captain America didn't even fall out till like the 2000s.
I heard he was sort of the comic relief.
He was.
He had his moments, and it was good.
And then can we talk about this elephant in the room? This is the one getting the worst lip from people. Everybody hates what this reveal ended up being.
Taskmaster is not Anthony Masters like he is in the comics. It is, in fact, the daughter of the evil general who has been brainwashed into basically a copycat cyborg. Yeah.
A victim
I
herself.
do not care that
Yeah, I
they
don't
changed
care
the
either.
identity of this guy.
I don't
He is
really
not
care either.
that. He's like a B-list character who's only
At
memorable because he has a good gimmick, and they
He looks
maintained
cool.
that gimmick.
He
The
looks
character,
cool.
the
got the
character
skull.
behind that gimmick is not a big deal. He's
Yeah.
just not an important character. It's
He's not.
okay for them to take liberties with characters like that. It's like when
He's a
like-
D-list at best, dude. He's terrible.
maybe I was being a little generous
You
because
were
I
being
saw
very
how
generous.
I saw how many people were just being real shitty about this. Like apparently Taskmaster was like everyone's favorite fucking character all of a sudden.
It's like
There
when
was-
a team
there
makes
was
it
that
to the
one-
Super Bowl, you
there was
know?
like
Oh,
at
they've
one
been my
point-
team forever.
At one point in time, there was a lot of speculation that Taskmaster was Keanu Reeves
That doesn't make sense to me.
because that he had been associated. They said that he was associated with a Marvel's movies project, and that this was the next movie that's coming out.
That's not it. That's not it.
It's not it, but it worked for the movie because this
Great.
was
Yeah.
That's what
Because
that's
this-
what this
this
was. It was a
character-
movie.
this
Yeah.
character was part of Natasha's road to redemption because of what she did to her.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
Like
you
okay,
go.
so whenever they make a
And I
change
have
for the
read that.
character,
I have read that.
yeah, whenever they transition a character to the movies and they make a big change, you need to ask yourself, was it appropriate for this movie? And in this case, I would say yes, it is. If they made it where this is a character that was tied in with Natasha's guilty past, and it reinforces the villain's whole thing, where he like finds and repurposes these lost girls to turn them into killing machines, and he did that most literally with his own daughter. It reinforces what a piece of shit he is.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Father of the Year material right
That's
there.
what I've
kids.
read. So overarching themes.
Family.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
Couldn't help
Damn it!
myself.
I knew you were
Fuck
going to
you,
do it.
Gomer.
I
I
knew it.
couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself, man. I couldn't resist.
I was like, wait, is he going to do it?
resist.
Surely not. No,
I
he did.
couldn't resist. So again, in the overall scheme of things, because in my opinion, okay, yes, it's a Marvel movie. It's going to be good. It's kind of like Pixar. You know, we always say it doesn't matter what Pixar does. Pixar's is trash is still mostly better than basically everything else out there. So
That's true, yeah.
you really can only compare it within the context of itself. Where's this rank for you in the overall scheme of MCU movies?
I'm not necessarily going to put a number to it, but it's
Sure,
mid-tier,
sure.
for sure. Mid-tier.
That's good.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It's not bottom
Above
tier.
average or below average. And that's not saying that you're saying it's good or bad. You're saying
Yeah.
in the
It's-
mid tier, is it
yeah.
above or below center?
It's part of the crowded middle. Like there's 5 to
agree.
10 movies that I consider like their very best. You know, your Guardians of the Galaxies, your Captain America movies, your Avengers Endgames and Infinity Wars. And then there's like the ones that were like, you know, okay, but like
Doctor
definitely they're like
Strange.
worse stuff. Like your Thor Dark Worlds, things like that.
Yeah.
But this is better than those, but I don't think
This
quite
is-
as good as their
This
very
is better
best.
than Iron Man 3. This is better than Iron Man
I
2.
fucking
this
love
is
Iron
better
Man
than
3.
the Incredible Hulk.
I
Iron Man
love
3.
I love Iron Man 3, dude.
Okay,
That
so
armor
movies
scene,
like Iron Man, I feel like Iron Man 3 is the one that's like most hotly debated of how
I
like
love
whether
it.
it's mid tier or bottom tier.
oh no, it's
I put
high
it in my
tier.
mid tier. Yeah,
I love it. It's high
I
up
like it
there,
a lot.
dude.
Yeah, I
That
also like
armor
Doctor
scene-
Strange more than you seem to.
I don't have a problem with Doctor Strange. It's just sort of Iron Man on acid.
That's fair, but
It's,
You know.
I mean, it's not bad or it's not good though. You know what I mean?
I don't usually get hung up on like what tropes are they using, what formula they're following.
Yeah.
Every movie you will ever see follows a formula with very
You know my
rare
problem-
exceptions.
You know my biggest problem with Doctor Strange
What's that?
is his doctor girlfriend. How she is just terribly portrayed in that, dude. All he uses us for is to yell at and then to fix him up when I hate that. I don't hate her character. I hate the way they use her character in there. It just seems like such a waste.
She's not much of a character. They did waste
I
Rachel
know,
McAdams.
it's weird. They wasted her.
They did
dude.
waste her.
It sucks.
When you put
She's
it that way,
great.
she's such a great actress, and they
Yeah.
kind of just let it fall to the wayside.
Yeah,
It's
she's
like
great.
Gwyneth Paltrow's a great actress, and they kind of she's just second fiddle.
Well, at
I
least
don't
she
know
gets
about
to
that.
armor up. I
At least she
Yeah,
gets
dude.
the armor.
Yeah, she was
she
amazing.
does a lot more. I don't even remember Rachel McAdams' name. It was Dr. something or other.
It was Dr. Rachel McAdams. Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember her name either. Other screen stuff now. Moving on to Loki. Episode 4.
Loki fight!
Journey into Mystery. It's funny that in and of itself is an Easter egg. The literal title of this episode is an Easter egg. And holy shit, this was a fucking basket of Easter eggs.
I didn't notice the Thanos copter the first time. That was amazing.
I noticed everything the first time because I had heard that there are so many Easter eggs in this episode. So I'm like a fucking, eagle-eyed motherfucker just looking at every clip.
That naval battleship.
Oh, what's that?
That naval battleship that showed up is a big Easter egg.
Yeah, I got it too, man.
You know what that is?
That is the ship that they used in
the Philadelphia experience.
Yeah, if you're going to ask a question, let me answer the question.
Yeah, David.
But there's a close-up of the Thanos copter. We got a Thor frog over here. If you notice, it's T365. That's the Thor. That's the number, the issue number that Throg appears in. We got the Living Tribunal statue out here just hanging out.
So the TVA fucked up the Living Tribunal shit? Damn.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
At least a version of it.
We got the squad. I don't know why I pulled this image, but it does have the Dark Aster in the background from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, Ronin ship.
But I just love this picture of the squad. Here's another one.
And they're all Lokis.
Yeah, I had
dropping an album there.
I had this meme. It was Loki from Avengers saying there are no men like me, and then this image. I was like, it looks like there are.
Yeah.
Loki. If you'll notice on the side of this building, we all thought this was Avengers Tower in the trailer, but this is actually the Kang building. Qeng. Kang is like a big, in the comics anyway, he's a huge billionaire who eventually becomes Kang the Conqueror. So I don't know if they're telegraphing that or if this is sort of a, misdirection, red herring. We also have. Go ahead.
Well, just like I don't know how much of like a canary in a coal mine we should consider the stuff in this episode. It's a pretty wide net they're casting. I doubt that we're getting like Frog Thor in the future,
Oh no, we're not getting that. But I mean, Kang, this isn't a direct nod to
Kang, for sure.
This isn't a direct nod to Kang. Yeah, this is a deep Easter egg. A lot of comic book folks don't even know what Kang is, Qeng. It was just like one arc,
Yeah. Well, we know Kang is on the way, but I don't know if this is like directly setting it up.
Yeah. Kang is coming.
We also get Ioloth, isn't that his name? Ioloth. He's a fucking obscure freaking villain. You guys remember what this is? This is the fucking Red Skull ship that he escaped in. Remember when he gave Zola the keys and then blasted off?
Okay.
Zola took the car and he took this weird freaking helicopter jet
rocket thing
hybrid. There's the Dark Aster again. I just love that shot of the squad, dude. That's so rad. They need a season 2 and I just want these dudes hopping around doing cool shit. There's a helicarrier. Can't be
all of them.
Yeah,
right. There's a helicarrier out in the background. You guys see this one?
Oh no,
Greenwood. He's a writer for Marvel who did a lot of stuff on Thor. And then we get President Loki, which was great. We get this one too. Did you see this Polybius, I think is how you pronounce it. I've only ever read the wiki page.
That's like the haunted arcade cabinet, right?
Yeah, it's a haunted arcade cabinet.
It's a creepypasta.
Sometime in the early 2000s, there was a conspiracy theory formed that the CIA put out this game Polybius in the 80s to control people's minds. But the game's never existed. No one's actually ever been able to locate a cabinet. So of course they're good. Yeah, so of course they're gonna make one and throw it on there. Oh, I love it. Roxy Wine, which is Roxxon, the company. Here's that ship, the Eldridge or whatever.
The Manhattan Project.
Yeah, from the Manhattan
Not
Project.
Manhattan. No, it's the Philadelphia Project.
Yeah, Philadelphia Project. This was what's his name's helmet from Ant-Man. Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket.
Yeah. So he got big?
Obviously, at
Assumingly?
one point he got big and he got
Well,
TVA'd.
that's why that's why he wasn't allowed to go big. So they pruned him.
So this was probably my favorite moment when she's contemplating exactly, what her next move is going to be. And she does it 3 or 4 times and then makes the sacrifice of just having faith that, Loki variant, the other one, the one we all know, Tom Hiddleston, isn't dead. And I love that. I love their relationship. I love the dynamics to it. Because it's got all this great things about how people who can't be loved are loving, learning how to love each other, but also the self-love angle to it that I adore, self-confidence and things like that. I just love it. This episode really pushed me over the top.
Yeah, this was a great episode. It was a really fun Easter egg hunt like we've been showing here, but it's also some of the best character work. This whole show has done great. It's been a great character arc for Loki himself, and you really enjoy all the dynamics he has with Mobius, with Sylvie, and now with his other selves. I really liked his squad dynamic he had. And we find out here that classic Loki was actually kind of a better version of him. He is the one who kind of realized, A, was able to trick Thanos like our Loki wasn't, and B, like he actually did try to change for good in a kind of a self-destructive way where like I'm going to isolate myself from everyone forever so that I can't hurt anyone ever again.
Well, I thought that was poignant.
Yeah, and that was he was my favorite character from this episode.
He had
this
like my
beautiful,
favorite Loki.
tragic story. Yeah, he's the Loki who tried to do right. In the second he wants to go, I miss my brother, I miss my family, I want to go see them again, he just gets fucking TVA'd.
Well, and it all goes back to what Sif said, you will always be alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, oh, man, when Classic Loki told that story, it's like, well, of course you're not. You're not allowed to have friends. You're not allowed to be.
Yeah, and that ties in really well with like the meta narrative of this whole show about how like Loki isn't allowed to change. The TVA will not let him become a better person. And now, especially, that seems to be his main goal, is to break free from his own cycles, to break free from his own destructive habits. But he's never allowed to, And this Loki tried so hard. Classic Loki did, but they wouldn't let him.
And it all comes from him sort of getting this newfound perspective from meeting these other versions of himself.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was such a brilliant way to do that. Is like he's trapped in here in this wasteland with all these other Lokis, and they are stabbing each other in the back, scheming, betraying, conniving to rule over fucking nothing.
Exactly.
They're fighting these like wars to rule over a fucking hole in the ground. Yeah. And that's like it's a microcosm of Loki's whole thing. Like he sees like, this is really what I'm like. This is what my whole life has been going from betrayal to scheme to, hurting everyone around me just to get my hands on something that's not really going to make me happy.
Yes, dude. And I'm not sure if Sylvie was having sort of the same realization in terms of her mission to destroy the TVA, because they do eventually go to, make moves to destroy the TVA, but I'm not sure they had any other real, place to go. That was really the only thing they could do.
Wasn't that the whole conversation they had outside the shop when he put the blanket over her?
Yeah. I think
that whole conversation is, what do we do after we destroy the TVA?
Exactly. I don't know, man. I guess the overarching thing here is, maybe the things that are most precious in life are family.
Damn it, Gomer!
Oh my God. We were having a nice conversation.
I can't help myself.
Piece of shit.
Because really, that's
you
what
it is. Loki. You cannot.
That's
change.
what it is.
You betray us.
I love you guys. You guys are my family. But yeah, dude. Oh man, I don't even have the image of Kid Loki drinking the Ecto Cooler juice box.
Oh yeah.
That's what
I don't even have that image.
Yeah, the Ecto Cooler.
Yeah,
I have to go back and check that out. I thought he was drinking a juice box, but I didn't look at it.
This is definitely the most rewatchable episode, and
it's the best episode so far.
And sure. Every episode has gotten better. Every episode has gotten better. Oh, I think Taylor may have kind of zonked out a little bit.
No.
But yeah,
don't go, Taylor.
He'll come back. Every episode.
There
you're back, Taylor. Yeah, every episode has gotten better. But man, this one is just very rewatchable. Yes, because of the Easter eggs, but because of those overarching themes. The character growth in this is wonderful, and the ways those characters grow. The story that's told to bring about that growth. Even Mobius, had his moments in the episode.
Yeah, that whole conversation between
I was so
Mobius
glad
and
Mobius
Sylvie.
was back here.
Go ahead, Taylor.
I think he froze up again.
Oh,
I was just glad that Mobius was back here. Mobius is probably my favorite character from the show overall, and I'm really glad he wasn't killed.
Yeah. So, I've been loving the ones where they show his variants, and it's like Lightning McQueen, out there, and they're like, Thor's the god of thunder, but what comes before the lightning? Before thunder, lightning. Ka-chow. I love that shit. Anyway, one more episode left, and then I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. We do have What If coming. The What If trailer was dope.
Pretty good. Yeah,
sick.
That's next month. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was sick. They had a What If Tony Stark was saved by Killmonger in the wilderness.
Afghanistan.
That alone is like, what? Yeah, in Afghanistan.
But so next week's for Loki, though. I've seen the theory floating around. I feel like it has to be true at this point that Ms. Minutes is the big bad.
I hate that because Tara Strong is just one of my favorite people on the planet. I don't want her to be a villain.
If
she doesn't do villains very well.
If they string it along this long, it's probably going to be someone we know, and there's no one else it could be at this point.
I'm thinking,
unless it's Casey or something,
I'm thinking it's the first Loki.
You think there's another Loki?
I think there's a Loki behind the TVA.
Well, that could make sense. Loki is a Kang.
If they're gonna do that, you do that at the end of this episode. You don't introduce that idea in the last episode.
So how you stop Miss Minutes?
Maybe, but I don't know.
How you stop her?
Miss Minutes, we are all puppets on her strings. I don't know.
How do you stop her? And I mean, if she's just an AI, somebody got to be controlling that, right?
That might not be true. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see what happens, though, because at the end of the episode, they make it through, and they're on their way to see who the big bad guy is. So we'll see. I don't know. That's all I got. Excellent episode, though. I want to go watch it again. Let's do food news real quick.
Yummy.
Yum, yum. What's
Delicious.
going on?
There are brand new Oreos on the way. Salted caramel brownie. It's actually got real salt on the...
What?
Yeah.
Ah.
It sounds so good. And apple cider donut.
Now I'm interested in the apple cider donut.
Both of these seem pretty cool, actually.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Both of them are not terrible, but I would prefer the apple cider one over the salted caramel.
This is one of those rare food news segments where you present us with something that actually seems kind of cool, and this is
where I'm not
a horrible abomination. Yeah.
These look great. Well, it's hard to tell. Tastes are so hard to judge. Anyway, the salted caramel brownie has 2 layers of cream.
So it's a double stuff.
It's a double stuff size. That's right. 1 caramel and 1 brownie layer.
Okay.
And then the regular Oreo cookie for the sandwich ends, but it's got salt, topped with salt.
Well, that will make for an interesting flavor
combination.
combination.
It should be good on the palate. And then we have apple cider donut, which I think is just basically, you don't need to know anything. So
Now, do people have to jump through hoops get this stuff online?
It's just gonna be like limited release. Yeah.
No, they should be in stores. I didn't. Yeah.
Well, the
store
apple
shelves.
The apple cider one
flat.
seems like it would be something for the fall.
Yeah, that's next month. Oreo.
The fall is rapidly approaching, David.
Yeah, I know.
Practically there.
You guys.
We still got like another month and a half of summer.
That's true. So we're on our way.
We have the worst month and a half of summer coming.
Yeah.
But it is the time of year where they're going to start like pimping out the fall stuff.
Yeah, the Christmas decorations are already on shelves. Moving on, we're skipping Moment of Destruction because Adam is not here and I don't like shitting on these books by myself. So
did you see that they are releasing like a Nemesis Primal?
No, I did not see Nemesis Primal. I saw the Ultra Magnus that they're doing. The Earthrise. I think it's Earthrise Ultra Magnus. He looks rad. He's $80 fucking though.
But yeah, they've got some kind of exclusive coming where they've got a Nemesis Primal, something called Fangry, and then another. It's a 3-pack, and I forget what the third Transformer is.
I haven't seen those, so we'll have those next week.
And Agent
my God.
Ravage.
See, I didn't see that either. Moving on to top 3. I'm going to go first. I think it's better if I go first this week, if that's okay. It's not a great week for comics for me. I have my reasons. I think I'll be getting to them shortly. Wonder Girl was very repetitive. Still great art, but Skybound X, man, this was a turd. This turned me off to the whole series. I guess this is supposed to be like a fun take on some very popular fan favorite series from Skybound, but it just came off as sort of a waste of time. It's got a Walking Dead story that's like in the future with lightsabers and shit.
Huh.
Children of the Atom, I don't know what's going on in this book anymore. It's fucking weird. If this wasn't, and like if the X books weren't so hot right now, there's no way this would have gotten made because no one would have ever picked this up. But it does. They do reveal, that the team actually does not have any superpowers at all. So, but my actual honorable mention is Ordinary Gods #1.
That is also one of my honorable mentions.
Kyle Higgins, Philippe Watanabe, Frank Williams, and Clayton Cowles. The only problem with this book, the only reason that it is not in my top 3 is everything about this first issue was literally spoiled in the solicit. It tells you everything that happens in the promotion for the book. I mean, it was great. The art is just insane. It's about gods who are, in this fantasy world, immortal, fighting, bickering between one another, long, long war going on. So then this one guy creates a place to send them as a prison, and it ends up being Earth.
Yeah.
Then these gods, these immortals are, killed and reborn on Earth, and it's a big, long thing. So
yeah, and they're trying to the main character of the book is basically the leader of the rebellion of the gods.
I mean, it's a great concept.
They're trying to get it back.
Great concept, great premise. It was written well. It had good art, but man, it was all spoiled in the solicit. The solicit tells you everything that goes on. Don't do that.
Well, that's a knock against the marketing team, not necessarily against the book itself,
No, not a knock against the book, but it would have been cool if I would have been surprised, So,
sure.
Yeah. But I'm still on board. Definitely still on board for issue #2. But this is not going to be a popular opinion. My number 3 is X-Men #1.
That's kind of low.
I know. Jerry Dugan, Pepe Larraz. This is volume 5 of the X-Men. And while this was a very solid issue, I would describe it as a comic book reader's comic book. It was almost a bit too formulaic, given where we are with the X books right now. So I'm a little bit confused. I'm on the fence a little bit. So we'll go into some background. Basically, there's some dude who gets mad that Krakoans and the mutants have
terraform Mars.
Yeah, because he was all about it. He actually had his whole body surgically altered and changed so that he could survive on Mars, which I think is a little overboard. They build this cool, treehouse on Central Park West, overnight. Again, I'm okay with that. It's a little bit of a downgrade from the team just terraforming an entire planet. But the art, holy shit, the art. Oh, my God. Pepe Larraz just killed it. But again, this book has all of the ingredients. Oh, it also has some stuff going on where a dude's trying to duplicate immortality. There's also this galactic threat going on. So there's all these threads that are being sewn.
Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, okay. I thought I had that image actually. I don't know what.
I'm gonna have more to say about this later, so I'll offer my rebuttals at that time.
Okay. But again, this has all the ingredients for a really good comic book series. I'm just not sure the approach in the larger picture is deserving this of being the flagship title. I don't know if this is refreshing or if it's kind of boring compared to everything else going on in the X books right now. All right. I'm ingrained in this new status quo. You know what I'm saying? It's exploring mutant religion, corporate intrigue, government-sanctioned international covert espionage and overthrows, international trade negotiations on a global and intergalactic scale. Oh, and they terraformed an entire fucking planet, making it the capital of the solar system, and the planet is literally exclusive only to mutants. And this is basically just your, fighting
that
for...
wasn't a secret. This was them reforming the superhero team. They never were coy about that.
No, I know, but...
Not every fucking issue can be them terraforming Mars, man.
No, I know that, but if you look at all of the other X books and sort of, maybe not Excalibur as much, but the vast majority of the X books are dealing with this, like, really real world. All right, X-Men at its heart is science fiction, right? And the best kind of science fiction, because what it's doing is it's holding up a mirror to, like, society, and things that are going on in the real world and juxtaposing that with this outrageous stuff, this futuristic stuff, so that we can, it's like putting, sugar into medicine. So it's sort of talking about, what's going on now. And I think it's been doing that very well, all of the X books, and I think they've been more relevant than they've ever been since the status quo change that Hickman brought in. I think they've been even more relevant because they are exploring new and different things in the context of it being science fiction. But just going back to, protecting a world that hates and fears them again, almost seems like a step back, like a backslide. But again, it's still making my top 3. It was still a very well-written book, a very put together book. But that's why it's only at my top 3, because I'm still like, man, I don't know what I was expecting, really, Taylor. You know what I mean? I don't know what I was really expecting. But you're right. They can't terraform Mars every issue.
And it's also worth pointing out that a lot of people who have not been involved in any of the Krakoa stuff at all are being expected to jump in with this issue. So, they do have to spend a lot of time catching us up with, like, who are these people? What are they doing? What's the current status quo?
You're right. No, you're right. And it's hard. I'm on the fence right now in terms of the overall picture. But in the smaller picture, hey, it made my top 3. Moving on, Dave.
Okay. Honorable mentions. As you've already said, Ordinary Gods. A lot going on in this book, but it's not enough yet to be in my top 3.
Good choice.
X-Men #1 is an honorable mention. I don't follow the X-Men books, so this is kind of like a return to form for me for the X-Men. But with the change in the status quo,
did you feel lost at all because you didn't understand some of the concept?
Well, it did help that I kind of did brush up on some of the more recent stories involving the New Society, the Gala, and some other stuff I did read up on.
And I think that was Marvel's.
It does help.
Yeah, I think that was Marvel's sort of point by relaunching X-Men after the Gala, because promotion for X-Men #1 was out before the Gala, and introducing the team was a big part of the Gala. So I think they were counting on people picking up those issues and then jumping into X-Men #1.
But that makes sense. They do with the change in the status quo for the X-Men. It's not necessarily a world that hates the X-Men anymore, because they do now seem to get recognition for the Krakoan drugs. There's
still
stuff.
Fear out there.
There are still factions that fear the X-Men. They
mostly this issue dealt with Ben Urich, the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers, who were never against the X-Men. At least not.
Ben Urich's got plans, dude. Urich's got plans. He's actually one of the most compelling parts of the book for me. Him talking about Jumbo Carnation.
This issue, they've only been dealing with people who are on their side anyway,
Yeah.
And then my final honorable mention will be Post Americana #6.
Penultimate issue.
Great issue. A lot going on in this one.
Yeah.
The robots have decided the people in the mountain strike against the robots and the new humans, and the new human lady basically strikes against the mountain, and she unleashes like these killer chickens on the army. Yeah. But it was a great issue. but there's just a lot of fighting going
Is
on.
that your number 3?
That's my number. That's my final
Well, get on
honorable
number
mention.
3. Get on number 3.
David, you have too many honorable mentions. Move
I have
fast.
many honorable mentions. Jenny
And just
Zero.
name check them. Jesus.
Yeah, just check them.
Jenny Zero, number 3.
Nice.
Jenny is introduced to a character who was friends with her father and basically acts like a Yoda. To teach her that she doesn't necessarily have to be, she's a drunk party girl, but she doesn't necessarily have to be a sober person to use these powers
and to be a hero. Yeah,
and to be a hero, she just has to find.
Cool.
She just has to find that balance between the good and bad to use her powers. And the consequences is that the advanced science police are going to try to catch her and basically vivisect her to find out what makes her become the giant kaiju fighting creature that she can become.
Yeah. Solid series, man. Good issue. Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves Taylor for honorable mentions and number 3.
My first honorable mention for the backup feature in Justice League number 64. the Justice League Dark stuff continues to be the best part of this book by a pretty wide margin. Another honorable mention for Avengers number 46.
Oh, that's my number 2. I'm gonna get in deep on that.
Yeah, the Winter Guard swoops in. Well, I'll let you talk about it later. But they swoop in and they capture.
It's so dumb and stupid, but it's so good.
Yeah, well, I mean that describes just about every issue of Jason Aaron's run, right? It's dumb but fun.
Yeah.
And I'll do an honorable mention for Children of the Atom. This is kind of the one from the X line. It's hardest to kind of categorize, right?
It's weird.
Like
dude.
I like what they're doing, but it's taken them a while to like progress the plot. I like all the character looks though. I like kind of going into like these characters' heads and like getting through their issues and like how they all have their like burdens to carry and all that. But anyway, number 3 is going to be Wonder Girl. Number 2, largely on the strength of some stellar fucking artwork from Joelle Jones.
It's great artwork. It's just,
oh my gosh,
there's a lot going on in this issue.
It's one of the prettiest books I have ever read. I especially love the opening sequence with Yara interacting with this sea creature who gives her lasso, it seems. And it does seem like things are starting to converge around her. Some assassins showed up and tried to take her out and everything. And but like I said, I'm intrigued by the plot. I am enjoying it, but the strength of this issue is definitely the artwork.
Yeah, the story here was very repetitive. It kind of just went over things that had already gone on in issue number 1.
I don't mind that as much as you seem to.
Well, I mean, I want the story to move forward a little bit. The only part of the story that moved forward here was that she got her lasso. They spoiled that on the cover. We knew that was going to happen because that's what happened on the cover.
We are also seeing all
these
spoiled that
forces, future state.
We do see a lot more of the people who are like trying to go after her. Like we see Artemis and Cassie both show up and they're trying to track her. So
and they had some fight. They had some nice interactions, with things. But I would like things to proceed a little faster.
That's fair,
than
but
they are.
That's a sensibility thing. I don't mind them dragging their feet a little bit on that sort of thing, but. Yeah, I think we can both agree that the art is the headline feature here.
It's gorgeous art. It's so good and well worth the price of admission, even if you don't read a single word balloon.
Yeah, if you're just flipping through it, looking at the images, it's worth it for
gorgeous. Sure. My number 2 is the aforementioned Avengers number 46. World War She-Hulk is in full effect. Aaron, it's by Javi Garrón, also with Jason Aaron doing the writing. He just makes this dumb stuff wildly entertaining. It was great to actually get back after Heroes Reborn. You know what I mean? Back to the normal status quo of what has been a nuts freaking run. But man, it's so melodramatic with Gorilla Man wanting to die and the murder of of this Red Guard traitor. It's all just sort of it's way over the top, dude. It's way over the top. But it's impossible to deny just how fucking entertaining the book is. All right.
Yeah.
The new Red Room brainwashing She-Hulk is just, again, it's soap opera nonsense, dude. It really is. But
I mean, this is a popcorn comic. I mean,
Yeah, there's no
undeniably,
depth
that's what
here.
it always is.
Yeah, there's no depth here. There's no, deeper meaning hiding under the surface of this book. But again, Aaron just kills it. Fun character moments, fun dialogue, and the art is doing most of the lifting in that context. You know what I mean? And again, I just think that's another testament to how good of a writer Aaron is. There's no way he described these two panels, the way they are to Javi Garon. He just said, yeah, he's going to have a Hulkbuster and it's just going to, incapacitate. And he did it. And then this, oh man, I love Gorilla Man beating the shit out of Tony Stark. I loved it. And Aaron knows his audience is going to adore seeing that. Starbrand, little baby Starbrand doing her thing. It's fucking awesome, dude.
It's Starbrand, this is going to be a new character moving forward, and that's an interesting consequence to come out of Heroes Reborn. That she basically had a time skip in which she was raised by Rocket Raccoon and Groot, and that's going to that really reflects the way she's a very abrasive, just kind of off the cuff powerhouse here.
Yeah. But then again, the traitor, Red Bear, or whatever the fuck his name is, I don't even know. Ursa Major, I guess, is the
And Red. I have mixed feelings about Red Widow because on the one hand, she's being a cruel badass is her entire character, and there's not much to that. But damn, that is the most brutal thing she's done yet. She's like, you were supposed to kill me. Bang, and then just leaves him to wallow in his misery.
But it is absolutely right, 100% agree. But dude, it's just so over the top. It just is everything. And then this, what the hell? I kill you all. I mean, dude, it's just, I love it. It's not just a popcorn comic, dude. Every issue is the most over the top scene. It's like the Fast and Furious of comics. I'm gonna say it. Family. It's just way over the top, and I adore it. I can't get enough. It's so dumb and stupid. I really don't want to like it. I want my comics to be like Hickman. You know what I mean? I want them cerebral and deep and have all this meaning. And then I read this, and I'm like, nope, I want them like this. I want them dumb and stupid.
There's room for both.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
comics can be thought provoking. It can also just be fun, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you can have your Alan Moore. And you can have your Donny Cates, I guess. I don't know. I find those two people should be in the same sentence, but hey, whatever,
Well, Jason Aaron is the best example of fun.
He
comics.
Really is. He's both. He is.
He really does kind of he straddles that middle ground because there's some really deep shit that you don't necessarily realize is deep shit as you're reading it. Yeah. You only found out, oh wait, that was deep shit.
Right.
Way after the fact.
Right. Dude, the deepest thing he's ever done, I think, is the whisper that Nick Fury gave to Thor, and it ended up being what's his name was right.
Gore was right.
Yeah, Gore was right. And I was like, oh shit, that really works. I can see why.
They talked to him about they did not make it legible this time. Apparently, way back in the day when he was writing Punisher Max, if you zoomed in enough, you could see what Bullseye was whispering to Frank Castle.
Oh wow!
And so it's oh shit, yeah, people can do that nowadays. And so this time they made it where you couldn't it doesn't matter how much you zoom in; it's just gibberish.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, dude. Jason Aaron is both Donny Cates and Alan Moore, in one guy, and you don't know which way it's coming.
Not everyone's a deep thinker though, and this one was not a deep thinker as far as
this one was just popcorn action. I love again. My favorite panel is Gorilla Man just beating the shit out of Iron Man. I loved it. It's just usually they don't let him use blood that red. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's a brutal panel for a Marvel comic, dude. Especially Avengers. Dave, number 2.
Basilisk number 2.
This is a Boom book. I couldn't get into this.
It was really interesting. It's essentially these individuals' superpower abilities, and they can turn them on people and just cause death and destruction wherever they go. They kind of live on their own for the most part, and one of them has kind of decided that she's had enough of it and has been taken. The one that has been taken prisoner can turn. People inside out essentially by looking at them.
Yeah.
So and she's going along willingly with her captor because I guess she's not happy with the circumstances of among her friends, and she even tells like one of them she can talk to through mirrors. She can call him up and kind of have a conversation with him in the mirrors, and she's like just don't be there when we get there, because apparently this guy is not that bad.
Harry Potter,
very but they're kind of planning it like there's three of them. There's three of these superpowered individuals kind of meet up in a diner, and they're just one of them's like really openly talking about things to do to the kidnapper and to their friend. And it's like, well, somebody, you need the other one of those was like, you need to tone it down, or somebody's going to recognize you or recognize something you say. And they just end up killing like the people in the diner in some of the most gruesome ways.
Oh, cool.
Like one of the waitresses starts eating herself.
Oh, wow.
The fry cook sticks his head in the fryer.
So what's the overarching plot here? They're trying to track down the girl who left.
They're trying to track down the girl that left. The girl that kidnapped the girl that left is trying to track them down, and so she's using the girl that left as bait to kill these monsters. As the girl who kidnapped looks at
they
her.
are monsters if they're making people fry their own faces.
Yeah, but it's a really interesting.
Maybe I'll give this book a second chance on your recommendation.
A really interesting kind of go at it right now.
Cool.
It's one of the more interesting reads of the week.
Good. That's Taylor number 2.
Immortal Hulk number 48. You knew it. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, no, is this the final issue? Or
no, there's 2 more issues.
It is not.
Okay.
There's 2 more
you fool. They're ending on 50, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But no, this issue, okay, so one of the things that I love so much about the series is when it gets into the psychology of Bruce Banner. Like, sort of the meta-narrative all along has been not necessarily him, like, fighting the bad guys or anything, but him, like, kind of having this crisis of identity. Like, he has this whole, like, network of Hulks inside of his head. And the one who's calling the shots for the last little while here has been Joe Fixit. He's actually the last Hulk left standing, him and the Kid Hulk. But
the Kid Hulk's the worst one. I don't think a lot of people aren't reading the book. I mean, isn't he the angriest one?
He's the one who, like, he's a scared child, and so he lashes out the most. But Joe, one of the things to deal with in this issue is that he's kind of a bad person. That, like, they talk about how Joe got his start when Bruce had like the shit kicked out of him by his dad when he was a little boy. He would like go watch like black and white gangster movies, and like this is the idea that got into his head about what tough guys are like. But so basically this whole issue is like looking at not just Bruce but also his relationship with Betty, because it's him and Red She-Hulk. They just had sex, and now they're having like a talk. And I really enjoy sort of, yes. But I very much enjoy the way that they kind of get into not just their relationship, but also like she basically just like tells him to his face that you have ruined my life so many times. You have been such a piece of shit to me. And like he does kind of talk about how like I am a child's projection of a tough guy, and I do need to change. Like it is time for me to like look inside finally to stop running away from myself. And then that's going to lead into these last couple of issues here in our big confrontation, which seems to be not necessarily just against the leader who's like, absorbed all these devil powers or whatever, but also, against himself. Like it really always has been. The Hulk's always been his own worst enemy, and I just love the way that they kind of outline that in this issue.
Nice. I need to come back to that book, man. I lost out. And I know, and I picked it up to like issue 11 or 12, and then I don't know, maybe there was a delay at the shop or something, and it just wasn't on my list, and it just sort of, you know what I mean? I just sort of fell off. So
Yeah, that happens
yeah, I'm
sometimes,
coming back.
even with good books, right? You kind of just like you miss an issue for whatever reason, and you're just like, oh well, I guess I'm just out of the churn now.
And it's hard because when the books are a lot of times people stop talking about books because they're so damn good.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
they're like, oh,
I have a broken record. Every time this book comes out,
yeah.
I don't really have anything new to say, but it just keeps doing good stuff over and over
I
again.
knew. That's why I picked this cover too, because why not talk about how awesome the Peach Momoko cover was for this? This lady had like 5 covers out this week. It was insane.
I don't know where she finds the time. I really don't.
Me neither. She's writing in her sleep in the shower and stuff. That gets us to number 1. X-Force number 21 is my number 1. Ben Percy, Robert Gill, and Joshua Cassara. Just an amazing issue. I mean, we got man-made disasters fueled by a lack of infrastructure. We got nature wreaking havoc on us because of it. It's got beasts, tyrannical tools being used by others in tyrannical ways. It's got a man-thing angle, which I love, which works perfectly with this whole, telefloronic thing that that the mutants of Krakoa have been doing and going back and forth with Terra Verde. It's got a weapon plus angle to it. It's got an abuse of Domino's powers, which I love. At first, I considered consulting satellites for heat signatures, but luckily we have Domino. I invited her to study a map. After a moment, she put her finger somewhere and said, that looks right. That's just such a cop-out, stupid, dumb
Domino's
writing.
powers are hard to write with, honestly.
I love it. No, that's the perfect way to write them. But I love how they're abused.
It is an in-the-universe way for a Deus Ex Machina to just bail them out. Yeah,
it's like every teleporter ever. Cloak might as well be fucking Uber for the Avengers. It's just so stupid. But I love it. Same with Nightcrawler and Magic. They abuse their powers. What else? Oh no, that's why do I have X-Force written on there? This is actually from X-Men. We'll talk about that again, I think, in a moment. All the X-Book this week seemed to unpause themselves after the Hellfire Gala. You know what I mean? It was almost Hellions. It seemed like it was on pause, and then boom, came. And Hellions was great this week. It had Sinister fighting Mr. Sinister. Remember Mr. Sinister stayed in Amuth and was fighting Tarn and his group of whatever? He comes back. And it's Mr. Sinister fighting Mr. Sinister, which is awesome. Even Children of the Atom, as much as I sort of crapped on it, just because it's a weird book and it doesn't feel like it makes sense with the rest of the books because it's doing something that I'm not quite sure I understand yet. I can't tell if it's cultural appropriation, cultural appreciation. I'm not sure what's going on. And there's one who actually is a mutant, but it seems like they all unpaused. You know what I mean? Full of action. Children of the Atom had some of the best splash pages I've seen all week. Great pages. Same thing with Hellions. Great, moving forward with the story. And that's exactly what X-Force did. And it came out just beautifully. And it had everything I want in an X-Men comic. And it's my number 1 this week. Dave.
Number 1. Fight Girls, number 1.
This book was bad, dude.
It
had good art, but
it had great art, but
bad book. No plot.
It seems to happen so often, David's like, this was my favorite book, Gomer. This was a piece of dog shit, and I hate it.
It does. It did have great art.
Basically, we have Hunger Games on a galactic scale where the Empress of an empire has abdicated the throne, and now to find a new Empress, 10 women from across the empire have come together to compete in a competition. And the winner of the first round, or the first trial for this competition, there are some questions about her.
Yeah, the king guys,
the prime minister is
worried about her. There's a couple of ruffians who have their own agenda.
Yeah, there's a lot of little threads going on in this, but right now,
kind of bored, except for the art.
The art was terrific,
but I was just kind of bored.
But you get to see, you get to see
great art.
You get to see girls fight dinosaurs, alligators eat people.
Yeah. I don't know. And then there was that, it was supposed to be a jump scare where they're fighting off one thing and then the big thing comes. And I was like, well, I knew that was going to happen, I don't know. Frank Cho is better when he's following someone else's scripts, in my opinion. Just saying.
But yeah,
he's not a good writer. He's a great artist.
Artist,
the dude's amazing with the pencil, but not so much with the typewriter.
But yeah, this pretty much the art is pretty much the carrying the book for the most part.
But that's on Ahoy Comics, yes, or AWA.
AWA.
Yeah, AWA. Cool. Not a bad choice. Because of the art, but
one of the more interesting.
It's great art. It's amazing. Frank Cho never fails with the art. He's always drawn beautiful ladies, and he does that in this. Beautiful monsters.
Oh yeah, the monsters are terrific in this.
Man, I just did not care for the story at all.
But we
Taylor, got X-Men #1. Share your feelings.
Yeah, X-Men #1.
You already telegraphed.
I thought that this was a clinic on how to write a first issue.
Agreed.
They gave all the characters stuff to do. They gelled well as a team. They had their awesome let's build a fucking Voltron and fight the bad guys moment.
I didn't much care for that, but only because of Mech Strike. Because
it's ridiculous that the X-Men do this in the first issue in a non-mech centered comic when Avengers Mech Strike still hasn't done the stupid Voltron.
And they did it with pieces of junk just laying around. Yeah. Tony Stark has spent probably trillions of dollars on these suits, and they haven't transformed yet.
They just get it out of the stuff that's sitting around on construction sites.
Well, yeah, between Polaris and Marvel Girl, they are. But yeah, and they introduce us to the new Team Status Quo. I love their new base. I mean, no, it's not as impressive as Terraforming Mars, but I love this breakdown. I love the diagram. I love us getting introduced to the different levels and the different shit going on. I love the way that the panels kind of walk us down as we're reading it,
yes.
I love the layout of this.
It's like a tour. It's like you're actually getting a tour on a 2-page spread while it's also giving you sort of the map of the place.
Yeah, we're following the characters through the space, yeah.
Yeah. I also like that it's like a public park space and also sort of a museum.
Yeah.
Because this X-Men team is also a diplomatic team. Huh?
That's those weird pods that they were looking at when Cyclops was talking to the reporter, right?
Yeah, down at the bottom, there's memorials for Proud Star and different X-Men who, for whatever reason, have not been resurrected.
Yeah, but I don't understand that.
Whatever.
He's been on Krakoa. But it introduced a lot of cool new sort of characters and concepts.
They've thrown in a lot of plot hooks. We have at least 3 villains that are being put on deck here for us.
Yeah.
One of whom sent the monster that they fought this week.
Yeah. We have this Mars guy who's pissed off about Mars. He's also working with the alien guy who sent the monster from Galactic Hollywood or Galactic
Space
Las
Vegas, yeah.
Space Vegas, where they're placing
whatever.
Yeah. There's also someone who's trying.
I will say though, I love the hook for the guy who's the head of Space Vegas. Yes. I do like the idea of him being a fungus that's infesting a cosmonaut corpse. That was a cool character design for this particular villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have this other guy who's
I do have him right
here.
Yeah, sorry about that. And then we have this guy. I don't even know who this is. He's trying to duplicate the Krakoan resurrection process from that the 5 do, and having mixed results. Getting better every time, but kind of evil too. Kind of the prestige going on.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. This was a fucking clinic on how to write a comic book. If this had been the first new X-Men comic book in 3 months, I'd have been like, holy crap, I can't wait to see what's going on. But bringing this book out in the middle of the new Hickman status quo, dude, you have to admit it's a little bit jarring.
I missed it though.
I agree with you.
I've enjoyed all the stuff where they're looking at mutant religion. Although I will say that Way of X is kind of disappearing up its own ass at times.
It is.
But I enjoy
religion. So does religion. So I don't know if that's on purpose or not. So
I like all these things where we're looking at who are the mutant CIA, who are the mutant priests or whatever. That's all fine. I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
I missed having an actual superhero team though. That's what the X-Men have always been, and it's kind of cool to have a return to form here.
Yeah.
Especially because they did already integrate it into the larger Krakoa stuff. Cyclops had his, you know what? Fuck you, Xavier Magneto. We're reforming the X-Men moment. Like, that was back at the end of Ten of Swords.
So but they were happy about it. But
it's not as though this came out of nowhere.
Excited about it, you know?
Yeah, I really like that. They're like, yeah, Cyclops, we should go fuck ourselves. You tell us.
Yeah, bucketheads. But
no.
With all that said, with all of my griping and pissing and moaning about what everything that X-Men #1 was not, I can't bitch, piss, or moan about anything that it is. You know what I mean? Because you're right. It's a comic book reader's comic book. It's like you said, a class on how to write a fucking superhero comic. It was perfect, but I think it was almost too perfect. You know what I mean? So I'm also.
I don't know what to say about that. So I guess let's just go ahead.
It's just me being stupid. So,
yeah.
But I am anxious to see how, because you know he's going to do it. Jerry Duggan is going to wrap this around the rest of. This is the flagship book. There's no getting away from it. It is going to wrap itself around everything else that is going on in the X books, one way or another. But it also looks like he's doing it on his own terms. You know, introducing new concepts, new characters, new villains. So, as apprehensive as I was, it still made my top 3. You know, I'm not taking anything away from it. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun ride no matter what, dude. Yeah. You know, it really feels like it's going to be a fun ride no matter what. So, excellent choice. I know you were excited to read this. I seen you at the comic shop Wednesday, and you were like, you know, usually I save the good books for the end. I bet you read Immortal Hulk last.
I did read Immortal Hulk last, yes.
He's like, but I'm reading X-Men first.
Yeah, I was talking to you as we were going out the shop. Like, I try to, like, put, like, books I know I'm going to enjoy towards the back of my pile, so now I'll end on a high note. But there are some books where it's like, I can't wait to read it, you know? Yeah. Like, let's go ahead and pop this open as soon as I can.
Yeah. So I basically...
I've waited a month for this moment.
Yeah. Next week looks like a better week. We're going to talk about all of the books dropping next week. Tomorrow night on our preview show, join us 7 Central Time. It's always fun. Jump in the chat. Let us know what you're picking up. Check out Comic Book Bullies. They're doing a show here. Big Willie is also streaming here every once in a while now. He's streaming in all kinds of places. So definitely come back to these channels and check them out. All that info can be found at outrightgeekery.com. All of our social media and shit is up there too. Give us a follow, hang out, come, tell us what you think about books and awesome stuff. So, yeah, it's been great. This has been a fun episode. It's a weird week in comics. I'm so glad I got more comics to read for next week. So, we had fun doing it. We're going to do it again next time.
Same geek time, same geek channel.
It just doesn't work if I say 2 jokers for hanging out. Works with 3 jokers.
I guess Jeff Johnson would agree with you there, yeah.
You can always do something like the